Have you been thinking long and hard about the right place to move? Or maybe you've been feeling oddly drawn to a particular city, state, or country, and you have no idea why. Before you pack your bags, book a ticket, or sign a lease, hold up, because I need to put you on to my little secret travel and relocation tool. Now, I swear by this, baby. It's not just wanderlust, it's written in the stars. Maybe you've heard about astrocartology. Maybe you haven't. So, what it is a cosmic cheat code I use to figure out where I'm most likely going to thrive, shine, or make money. It even helps me to find out where I'm going to connect with the right people. So trust me, it saves me from moving from place to place or struggling. So if you want to know more about how this tool helps me thrive and shine and make my money, stay with me because I'm going to give you all the secret tea. So let's start with what is astrocartography, which is it never rolls off my tongue correctly. But what is it? What is this thing that I am talking about? Well, it is basically, if I want to break it down in layman's terms, it is astrology for travel or relocation. It basically uses your birth chart to find the planetary energies that interact with different places on Earth. Basically, it's your personal energetic GPS showing you where to shine, where you might struggle and have challenges. Also, great places for you to meet the love of your life, have career success, spiritual growth, and even some drama. So it's all based on your birth date, exact time of birth, that's important, and where you were born. Without the correct time of birth, the map basically is just guessing. So it's hard to actually pull your chart if you don't know the time of your birth. But seriously, if you really want to understand like how the stars can direct you in the right direction, you want to get this chart. So let me dive deeper into what astrocartology can actually do and how I stumbled upon this wonderful tool. Now, before I go any deeper, what I want to do is show you if you take a look at what an actual chart looks like. And what you're going to do is see these different lines, right? And the lines are going through, it's a world map basically. And then you have these lines, and the lines actually represent the planets that are affecting your chart. So, it might be Pluto, it might be Saturn, it might be Mars, it might be Jupiter. And what you're going to do is based off of what you want to attract into your life or the aspects that you want to have, for instance, love, right? If you want to find love and you want to be in a place where you will ideally attract more love, more beauty, you probably want to be on your Venus line and closer to your zenith in the Venus line. So you'll actually look at your chart and then find where your Venus placement is. And I'll show you next what that looks like. Okay, before we get started, I wanted to show you just what an astrocartology um, chart would actually look like so that you can get a better understanding. And one of the tools I use where you can get a free chart, you may not be able to read it. It's a little detailed. And you won't get like all the in-depth information as if you had somebody run the chart who truly understands how to do it. But you can just go to astro.com
and you're going to go to the three lines here, and you're going to click on free charts, and then you'll go down to uh, why is it not doing it? Okay, locational. I can't connect right now, but okay, locational astrology, and you'll go to Astro Click Travel. So here you are going to actually put in like the name of the person that you're going to run the chart for, and you'll hit go. And so basically, this is what a chart looks like when you first pull it up. So, like I said, if you don't understand what these lines are, then it's going to be difficult. But this little bullseye is basically where I was born. So, this is the United States. And as you can see, it gives you all the states and it gives you the lines. These lines are the planets, right? And um, I'm going to show you, for instance, um, I'll do DC because I used to live there. And so DC is here, but these lines, you get the energy of these lines in about a 300-mile circumference from the actual particular line. So, for instance, this line, as you can see, is my Mercury line. And you can see this particular line, if you click on it, is my sun line. So, as you can see here, the sun sign is basically it embodies you, right? Who you are, what you've been called to do, how you show up in the world, your authentic self. And so this is the line where you can actually shine. And if you look over here, you're going to get like a brief description. It's not going to give you in-depth information, but basically if you are a beginner, it will give you just a description of what this aspect would um, what it means. So basically, this is the sun line. So you can read what the IC sun line represents. This is Mercury, what Mercury benefits. So basically, it gives you opportunity to work through unfinished business. Um, Mercury rules communication. So it will talk about like how you communicate in that particular area. Um, and Mercury would be good for like if you're building or renovating a home, job opportunities, solving how you solve problems, things like that. Whereas this is my Mars line. So if you go here, you're going to see what Mars, and Mars has a little bit more friction. Mars is the planet that rules war. It is about competition. And so when you have conflicts, human conflicts with human relations and things of that sort. So it's a very masculine sign. So you would have masculine energy over here. So I just kind of wanted to show you what a particular chart looks like. And like I said, you can basically move this chart and you can go to different places. For instance, there was a point where I wanted to move to Portugal, right? So if I pull up Portugal, you see this big line. This is Mars. So if I click on it, it's going to give you the information for Mars, right? And it also has another aspect, which is my Venus line. Now, Venus rules beauty, relationships, romantic partnerships, and how you show up or your glow up in a particular area. So you would actually look better. You actually become off. Up, pleasing to other people, especially the opposite sex. It would be an easy life for you, and it would be a great place if, like, you wanted to do design work, if you wanted to have beautification and things like that. So, if you look here, on Portugal, like I was considering living in Porto. So Porto is definitely almost on that line, right? So I'm going to get more aspects that um, are more pleasing in that particular area. When I went to Porto, I loved it. Like it was really easy for me. I had a great time. The food was good. Anything that represents beautification, luxury, um, good life, that's it. Okay. And so Porto is a great place for me to live. I actually felt that energy. I loved it. It's not directly on the line, but this line is going to cover about 300 miles.
All right, so story time. How did I discover astrocartography? Ha- a- Again, I'm always messing this up. Astrocartography. How did I discover astrocartography? I'm glad that you asked. Now, um, let me think about this. So several years ago, I stumbled across astrocartography while I was already deep into astrology journey, and I was looking. First of all, I've always loved astrology. I like all things esoteric, and so I've always been drawn to why do I do things, and why do other people do things, and how are we connecting? And so it was easy peasy for me to kind of like fall down this rabbit hole. So literally, um, I would, pull my chart, figure out certain things, and I didn't really know what I didn't know, but I had clicked on something on one of these charts for travel because I'm always traveling. And so when I learned that my birth chart didn't just influence my personality and my purpose, but it could also show me the best places to live and work, I was like, listen, I have found God. Like we like on the same page right here. Like this is like everything for me because there are times where I sat and I was like, oh, I really want to go here. I really, 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 really want to go here. And there were times where I was like, okay, I'm gonna go here. And when I got on a plane and I didn't have any kind of reference, I got to a place and was disappointed, right? And so once I found this tool, I started playing around with the mat and baby. It was spooky. It was spooky and accurate all at the same time. When I was looking for the best places to start my business, I realized that I had just moved to DC. And guess what? DC is on my sun line. And basically, what that means is your sun sign is who you are, right? And in your sun sign, this is where you can like thrive and show up authentically and be yourself. So DC was on that line and things just started to pop off for me. And so it gave me confirmation because it explains why I felt seen, connected, and aligned all while I was trying to like make things happen. And this is the thing. When you are aligned to a place, it removes the struggle. Not to say that you won't have ebbs and flows because you will, but it helps you. It helps you like adjust where things start to be very seamless versus struggle. Like if you were to pull up your chart after you arrive somewhere and you've been having all kinds of struggles and aggressive moments and displaced and you looked at your chart, you like, okay, there might be some shadow work that needs to be done in that particular place. Or you may have like a Mars placement where there might be some challenges and aggression. So it is important so that you have a clear understanding of where you're going, what you're doing, to have this tool help you, especially when you like, okay, I'm about to move across the world or across the country and I need some clarity before I move. It will save you time and money. I attest to that. All right, so using astrocartology, for my move abroad, that was just a little bit different. I just was very proactive. I remember when I was picking Mérida, I had went to Cancun, so I went to Mexico, and I felt drawn to the area, and it felt easy peasy. But I was on vacation, so I hadn't looked up the like lines or anything because I just went for vacation and I was exhausted and I just needed a place to rest. However, when I do travel for vacation, oftentimes I look at the lines and the placement just to be like, okay, I don't want no problems. I really want to rest, right? So, when I decided to come home and think about moving to Mexico, I didn't really know a place. I didn't really think it would be Cancun. Um, so I started to actually pull up my chart. So I decided to move abroad. I wasn't just picking places off of Instagram or travel blogs. I wanted to be intentional. So I pulled up my astrocartology map and checked the placements for every country that I was trying to live in. And primarily Mexico. And so I looked at different places like Guadalajara, I looked at Mexico City, and I looked at Merida. And Merida, it wasn't actually the perfect place. There were some lines, like for instance, there were some Mars placements that were very prevalent, and Mars basically can lend to some struggles or challenging aspects like um well for me it was competition. It clearly stated that there were going to be some competitive moments that I would feel aggressive, I would have more masculine energy. And although that showed up, it also gave me some really good placements and aspects where I knew that I would be safe, I would be able to do business, that might be some challenges to doing businesses, but that would also potentially allow me to grow. So I went with the flow and decided to go. So when I moved to Merida, I already knew I had the Mars lines there, meaning that there were going to be some challenges, there was going to be competition, there was going to be a little hustle energy, but it wasn't like I was planning to stay there forever. So for me, it was the opportunity for me to grow, stretch myself, and at, at least I knew what the challenges would be or the energy that may be a little bit more challenging. And so that didn't deter me. And so it lends to like where are you in your life and what is it that you absolutely need for you to grow and elevate to the next level, and then what are you trying to avoid, right? And sometimes you can try to avoid certain things and run directly into them. And so I wasn't avoiding challenge, I wasn't avoiding anything. I wanted to actually be in a place where I knew I was going to elevate and grow, but I was going to be in a safe environment. So you can consider that when you're using astrocartology. All right. So as I was tuning into energetic shifts, um, the other wild part was I was starting to actually feel when it was time to move on. You know, when you get restless, you like, this place ain't doing it for me anymore. And that's a real thing. I think, especially when you're tapped into energy, you're a spiritual person, you can feel the energy. The great thing about the Yucatan in Mexico, it is a very energetic place. You have pyramids everywhere, and this is the great part. The area code or zip code was no, it was the area code is 999. So it's it's funny because I'm also into numerology and I have three nines in my top numbers. And so it's the number of humanitarians, it's the number of endings, it's the number of like the beginning of a beginning. So you have the ending and now you're getting ready to begin again. And so it was great because I knew that my time in Merida was not going to be in vain. It was going to be an opportunity for me to grow, an opportunity to connect to my humanness and actually elevate in many respects. When energy stops aligning in your body, in your spirit, it's telling you. So so listen, if you are in tune with who you are and the spiritual energy that is around you, you'll know when, okay, this rodeo is coming to an end. And I think oftentimes what we do is try to dismiss the signs that, okay, it's time for you to shift and move on. And what happens and when you do that is you get stuck in a place that's not serving you anymore. And so I try not to be in those places. I try to listen to the universe and listen to the energy in my body that's like, listen, you this has served you. It's time to move on. And that's exactly what happened while I was in Merida. So I even had I had a reading done, and the reader basically told me everything that I needed to know and confirmed everything I was thinking. So we were aligned that this trip had, served its purpose. It was time for me to move on. It showed me that my intuition was right, and that basically it was written in the stars to kind of say. So just trust yourself because oftentimes Now, sometimes we romance places. We think, oh, Paris is a great place because it looks good in the magazines. You get to Paris and you realize this ain't what I thought it would be. It's not as glamorous because Paris is actually a little dirty. But listen, I love Paris, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. I went there for work, and so yeah, I loved Paris in the movies. I love all the romance going on in Paris, and me going to Paris the first time, seeing rats at the Eiffel Tower, I was not that impressed. But it was a great experience. And so what I would like to caution people with is not trying to rewrite your story by avoiding certain things. If you feel drawn to a certain place, go see, find out. However, I think that if you use this tool, you can oftentimes find what you're looking for faster. For instance, if you are indeed trying to move to a place, you want to build a family, maybe you're single and you want to find a love interest, there are places that are more, what do I want to say? More aligned with what your desire is, right? If you want to build a strong business and you want to make money living abroad, there are places that are going to be more apt to that, regardless of what the economic situation is out here in these streets, right? Because it's just more energetically aligned with who you are, and opportunities will find you in these particular places. So keep that in mind. Now, this is how I use astrocartology today. This is my current process that I'm going to kind of talk about right now. So before I make any big moves or even big travels, because I'm spending my money and my time and my energy and those things that, I mean, I can get money back, but I normally can't get my time back. So I want to be very clear about how I'm moving forward. So whether it's relocating or just planning a vacation, I pull out my chart. So I will check to see if there are different aspects because there are permanent placements where your lines are going through that particular place. And then there are places because we're in rotation and we're moving. And so your sun is moving, your moon is moving. These planets are moving around, and there are different aspects that happen at different times based off of the planetary aspects that are going on at that particular time. So actually doing the chart will tell you what permanent places are and temporary places, places that are shifty based off of the time. So you want to keep that in mind because something that you may have a really great aspect in that particular area and all things can go well, right? But let's say going there this March or in May might not be the ideal time for you. Now, if you're talking about moving somewhere, you can actually see where are the permanent placements and it'll give you a better idea where it just might not be a good time to go right now, but for long-term living aspects, it would be a great place for you to be. So I look at those things. Is this a place that I can meet the right people? Is this a place where my personality is going to shine? Is this a place that is going to be professionally enhancing? I look at all of those things. And I also look, is my money going to be affected by this place? Because you can move somewhere and it just affects your money, especially because I work from home and I freelance and consult. Then I want to know, like, is it going to be a great place for me to be able to do the work that I want to do, meet the right people, connect, network, all those things? Is it even a good place for expats? Specifically those who work remotely. So listen, as a consultant entrepreneur, I need my location to support my coins. So the last thing I need to do is move somewhere that I'm going to struggle to make money just because the energy is off. So I just don't want to do that. And we're not about that life. So we're going to check in and just make sure that this move is copacetic. All right. So I hope this isn't too woo woo for my people, but I feel like, listen, I'm woo woo if you haven't known by now. Woo woo. And so this is real life alignment for me. Maybe this is not for you. I get it. It's not for everybody, but I'm not for everybody. But for those who are connecting with me and who are going to be here along the ride, and you want to step into some of your woo woo ness, or you just want to look at different tools that might help your life, um, be a little bit more aligned, then take this in consideration. So, the power of astrocartology is for you. If you felt drawn to certain places and you had no idea why, or you've landed somewhere and you just felt it, you like, man, a chart could explain everything. This map is a cheat code and I use it often. It helps me to connect with people, it helps me to have travel plans, but it also helps me to make permanent decisions instead of making permanent decisions with temporary information that may or may not be accurate. It helps me to kind of like connect and find the right place for whatever it is that I'm trying to do and potentially have more staying power. So I end up like having an idea I'll be here for 6, 7, 8, 9 months when I pick the right place. And Malaysia actually has my sun sign. It's directly on my sun sign. So it's a great place for me to thrive, meet people, and things that I do here are seamless. So it's great for that. Now, if you have been trying to figure out, like I have people who come to me and they're like, listen, there's so many places that I want to be. I just don't know where to go. I just feel like I'm so confused about what would work and I don't want to make the wrong move, right? So they stay stagnant because they can't figure out how to actually make a decision. This is a great tool because it will point you in the right direction. Now, it is not a magic pill. It is not going to solve all your problems. It is not going to prevent you from having any challenges. I'm going to keep it 100 with you because I will want you to keep it 100 with me. So, if you are interested in doing a chart, you can find my information down in the description on how to get a chart done. So, what I need is your date of birth. I need the time of birth. You have to have the time of birth. So, you need to go look that up. And I need your birthplace. So, where you were actually born, the city and state and or country. And so, these three things will help me to pull a chart. I can pull that chart for you and give you different aspects of what will be challenging if you're going to just be traveling in a short term space, or if you are actually going to be considering relocating to a place. This helps you save time, money, and energy. And listen, ain't nobody got time to waste out here in these streets. So I'm just saying. But if you're really interested, go ahead and go down to my description and you'll find the content and information. If you want a personal walkthrough of your astrocartology chart, then I can do that for you. Or if you just want me to pull the chart and send it to you, I can do that as well. So yeah, I'm just here to help. Let's make sure that your next move is your best move because where you live should support your soft life, your business, and what's important, your joy. So until next time, find your flow, follow your freedom, and remember, drift deep. Bye for now.